bringing Gator Nation a different Gator great every episode.
This is Jabari Gaffney. You're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey, I'm Earl Everett. You're not a Gator, you're Gator bait.
This is Bo Carroll.
Hey, I'm Rita Anthony.
This is Kewan Ratliff, and you are listening to All for the Gators podcast.
This is Cedric Faison, a.k.a. C4.
This is Brandon James.
This is Jack Jackson. Go Gators.
Hi, this is your boy Jeremy Mincy, a.k.a. Mr. Mintz, and we were the All for the Gators podcast.
This is Ben Trooper. You listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
Hey, guys, this is Jarvis Moss. Go Gators.
You rocking with Lito Shepherd, and we're All for the Gators podcast, man. Top notch.
This is Chris Doring, and you're listening to the All for the Gators podcast.
And now, your Gator alumni hosts, John, Andy, and Sid.
Bang, bang.
What's that sound?
Oh, God. Here we go.
Come on, Andy. You know the rest.
I do, but I'm not singing it.
Oh, danger, danger. He didn't finish the lyric. Yikes.
Who sings that? Cinderella?
No. I just gave it to you. It's danger, danger.
I just remember the song because when we played intramural football at UF.
Yes, you used to blast it on the way there.
Yeah, I used to blast it on the way.
Definitely remember.
Yeah, and in the parking lot, tying up our cleats and getting ready. It used to get us pumped up, or at least me. Not so much, Andy.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah. I will not confirm nor deny.
Okay. Well, something we can confirm is we got part 2 of Jeff Demps.
I love
this episode.
Just because he's one of the fastest humans ever does not mean we need to speed through these interviews. I like that we're breaking this down over 2 episodes to take our time with one of the fastest humans ever on our show. So I like that.
In this episode, he goes into the Olympics. He goes into NFL stories.
And friends of the show, listen, there is a budding bromance here between your favorite host, Sid, and our guest. So listen for that, and please feel free to comment at your leisure.
It happens during the show, just like Step Brothers. It's palatable the moment they become best friends.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh,
Did we just become best friends?
Sure.
I think so.
And he starts off by talking about 2009, that run they go on, undefeated in the regular season, and then he talks about the fall off and what precedes that. So this is a jam-packed episode. Jeff Demps, national champion, UF Hall of Famer, Olympic medalist.
And Sid's best friend.
And Sid's best friend. Here we go. Jeff Demps, part 2, All for the Gators podcast. Well, let's talk about some of the success you guys had in 2009. Blow through the competition pretty much. Go 12-0 in the regular season. Mm-hmm. You had 745 rushing yards, and that's with Rainey and Gillisley there. Mm-hmm. You averaged 7.5 yards a carry. That was 5th in the nation. But you do lose to Bama in that SEC championship. How heartbreaking was that game for you?
It's great to hear you say that. I didn't even know that. Like, I don't even know, half of my stats. You know what I mean? But it's just like, to hear you say that, man, that's pretty cool. But
7.5 yards. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm like, man, that's cool. I just kept my head down, man. Kept my head down and just working. But the Bama loss, like I said, it was tough, but it was that the night before the game. Well, not even the night, just the week leading up was just like an eerie feeling. You know what I mean? It's like when something just don't feel right. You know what I mean? It's like the week of practice just didn't feel right. It was like we just had a lot of in-house things going on. Like I said, that whole year we wanted really like bonding, meshing like we did the past year. But that whole week, man, it was different. Like we had, even at the practice, like we had juice, but it was just a different type of energy. It's like not saying that I knew we were gonna lose, but it didn't feel like the 2008 preparation for the SEC championship. So to say, it just felt off. And then we had, that incident leading up. And I think that Thursday night we had the incident with Dunlap. And I think I think after that it just kind of took the spirit out the team. You know what I mean? So, and then, coming into that Bama team, like, those guys were on a whole nother level. Those guys were so hungry, man. It's like, I just remember, me and Rainey, we doing our running back drills. Looking over, I think they had Trent Richardson that year, right? In 2009, he should have, yeah. So I just remember looking at, it was Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson. I'm looking at these guys, and you can tell, like, they just, I just remember looking at their legs, right? And, being ready, we speed guys. So I just,
those
just
guys were
turning back.
workhorses.
Yeah, and I just remember looking back, and I was like, man, what is this? Like, they just looked the part, man. Like, they just looked like they were on a whole nother level. And as soon as, from kickoff, man, they dominated from kickoff. But it was just, and I don't even think we had a lot of carries. Me or Randy, I don't think we ran the ball that much, but even when we did, like, I had one of those moments too in that game where, it was one of the times, like, man, I can get to the edge. And this was the first time that this had happened. I thought, man, I can get to the edge. And I remember, I think it's Rolando McClain. He caught me on the angle going out of bounds. I was like, man, what is this? That's the first time that had ever happened to me. And I said, yeah, something not right, man. Like, my cleats ain't right. My socks, something's off. Cause, like, that was the first time that had happened. But those guys, they were so sound, man. Like, they were like a professional squad.
Well,
like,
a lot of those guys went on to NFL on that team for sure.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's like, for me, to this day, that's still like one of the best teams I probably played. As far as just like an overall sound team.
Yeah, and they pretty much stayed like that for the next decade.
Exactly.
True. That was the beginning of it.
Yeah, I think that set the tone. Yeah, they set the tone.
It did. Well, they had to get through you guys to do it, though.
They set the tone for those guys. Because even after the game, like just talking to some of the players like in midfield and stuff like that, they were saying how the whole season was just prepared for Florida. It's like, they have the, it's the battle, but then, it's the war. So It was like they had their eyes set from when that clock hit 0 in 2008 until when they got their revenge, man.
They were locked in.
They were locked in. Yeah, they were locked in, man.
Well, the next couple seasons, a little less locked in than what had preceded it. Urban comes back, leaves, comes back again, and Muschamp comes in. Obviously, you talked about the great deal of quality talent that left the team at that time, graduating, going on to NFL success and whatnot. But what do you remember about that with the back and forth with Urban? We've had some friends of the show like Chris Rainey speak very endearingly of Coach Urban. Other friends of the show like Jarvis Moss, not so much. Where do you fall on that spectrum? Do you still have a good relationship today? And how do you remember all that hoopla with him leaving and coming back again and all that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely a Myers guy. Like, I love Coach Meyer. I was one of those guys that was on the good side. Because like I said, I kept my head down and I worked hard. And so, I was definitely one of his guys. You know what I mean? But it was like, for me, it was tough, man. Because I love Coach Meyer. I love Coach Mullen. Coach Mullen was one of my recruiters. So, I knew what the offense had did under Coach Mullen. And, I don't take nothing away from Coach Dazio and stuff like that. But, when Coach Mullen left, I felt like the offense slowed down a little bit. And then, when Coach Meyer, was going through his things, it's just, it's like we didn't have a foundation almost. You know what I mean? It's like after that 2010, after that, doing that even like, cause in the camp, our camp was great. Like I probably had one of the best camps that I've had. And, we was supposed to, do big things. I think that's when, Brantley was coming in and, we just started out shaky, man. And I think that was like, even just watching the documentary, the Swamp Kings, I didn't know, Coach Meyer was going through. I knew he was a football guy, because for any coach to have that type of success, I know, or anybody, I just know the type of focus and dedication you got to have to have that type of success. So I didn't know that he was going through all of that, but I do know that he had to be involved in the game so much. So, I think it just kind of took a toll on him. And he's a guy, we have to win now. Like, it's not later, it's not years from now. We have to win now. What can you do now for us to win? And I think, just coming from, like I said, such a high and then coming down low, is like, on a roller coaster, then you just just take a fall. And I think that probably played a big part on, on his health, on the mental, physical, spiritual side, emotional, just from every angle. I think it took a toll on him, but it also just took a big toll on us because, that's our leader. The guys will run through a wall for coach, and, if his foundation's not solid, then our foundation's not going to be solid.
You said that you had good camps still, and, well, you had good years. You led the team in rushing in 2010 in all-purpose yards, and you were close to it in 2011 again. So when you're finished at UF, you have 2,470 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
That's still 9th best all time.
Wow.
You had 23 rushing touchdowns, which is still 10th on the UF's all-time list. And you had a yards per carry average of 6.7, which is the best ever by a running back at UF, with a certain amount of carries, obviously. Did you know that? Do you wear that with a badge of honor?
Nah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
No one's breaking that.
Yeah. Nah, I didn't know that. And it's so, like, some of my buddies, like, they'll see, like, some, like, stuff on Instagram, and like that, because I'm not, super active on there, but I go from time to time, and some of my buddies will send me, like, little stats from, like college pages and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, man, that's cool. Like, that's cool. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not really really a big stat guy. Like, so, but, like, it's like, to hear that, it's like, man, I was pretty good, I guess.
But, Emmett, Fred Taylor,
yeah,
Eric Rett. I mean, a lot of these elite stud running backs came through UF, and nobody had a higher yards per carry average than you.
And that's crazy. And then I would say, like I said, that 2010, man, I felt like that would have been my best year. It's just coming into that, I was coming off of, my first NCAA 60 title, my first 100-meter title. So my confidence was through the roof. You know what I mean? So it's like, I approached that training camp like never before. I bulked up. I picked up. I think I usually played at like from probably 175 to 180, 182 or so. But once I got back from the track, I think I had bulked up to like 190. I had made a list on the paper that I would never let the first tackler bring me down. And it was just like, it was different, man. My confidence was through the roof. And then just that training camp was incredible for me. And I had, we switched running back coach. I had, Coach Stan Drayton, and he just brought something totally different to me, like to the table. Like, he was all about, like physicality, block first and then run, and just taught me really how to be a ball carrier. And, you can see it like, like the first couple of games with, who had Miami, Ohio, USF, and then Tennessee. In Tennessee, I had, unfortunately, I had like a mid-foot sprain. But, I think that game I got maybe like 25 carries or something crazy. But, I think that was the year, for me to, like, even I don't know, but, Coach Meyer would say, like, Duncy, man, like, you're going to win the Heisman. He would always tell me that in camp, like, Duncy, man, you're going to win the Heisman this year. You're going to win the Heisman this year. And I believed it wholeheartedly because I'm like, man, I'm not going to let anybody outwork me. And then seeing what the guys that had just left that we were able to, accomplish. I'm like, man, now it's, I'm older now. I have the experience. I knew what it took to be a champion. So I just approached it differently. And then, like I said, unfortunately, I had a mid-foot sprain that just kind of lingered throughout the whole year after that Tennessee game. And, so I think, that's the one thing I'm like, man, I always tell people I wish I could have got through that season healthy, man, because I know that would have been one that would have, put a lot of good stuff in place for me for sure.
You would have averaged 8 yards a carry.
But hey, probably, man. That year I was on a mission, man. I was on a mission, man.
So it's interesting to hear you talk about all the prep you did that off season and kind of the thoughts of the NFL.
Yep.
Story out there is that you decided to focus after you graduated on track for the Olympics instead of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an accurate story?
Oh yeah, it's very accurate. Because even so when Coach Meyer left and they brought in Muschamp, right? And I was gonna forego my senior season of football and just focus strictly on track. But like I said, I was.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was, because I was dealing with the injuries and stuff. Now it's like every year I was battling something different, and then I started to like lose the passion for the game. You know what I mean? And as I was losing the passion for football, it's like on the track side I was still excelling. So I started to love track more than I did football. So when all the stuff started happening, and Coach Mike, I'm like, man, you know what? Son, it was in the meeting. I just remember like yesterday he was in the meeting. He told us he was leaving, and I was like, man, everybody, dang man, what we gonna do? We gonna transfer? We gonna do this? I was like, man, I'm just gonna stick to track. And so I was like, I spoke to Coach Holloway and I said, Coach, I'm gonna just focus strictly on track. And I was doing that, and Coach Muschamp called him, and Coach Weiss called me in the office, and like we met a few times. About coming back, and they just, at the end of the day, they convinced me to come back for my senior year. And I was like, all right, Coach, I'm gonna come back. But my senior year, I wasn't, I was locked in, but I wasn't like fully locked in. I felt like I kind of had one foot on the field and one foot on the track. So when I got done, I said, man, you know what? I'm gonna just, like, I had the Senior Bowl offers and stuff like that. I, met with, some big agents, and, they were telling me what I could do and what I could be. And, it just, nothing would stick. I just, man, I'm going to focus on track. So after I got done with that, my senior year in football, I just focused on track and, ended up, winning the 60 and stuff like that, and was, projected to win the 100 and stuff like that. I didn't even lose the race, but I ended up getting a hamstring injury. And I was like, but again, like I said, I'm going to rehab, I'm going to come back for track. I was like, I'm not even going to do football. And then, I had the combine invites and everything. I was just in a place where I had lost all my passion for the game, man. Cause it was just, it was rough. We went through so much, and then it was just mentally taxing. And like I said, it was track almost felt like an outlet for me after a while. So I just committed there, like fully. So when I got done with my senior year of football, man, I was like, I'm done with it, and it was cool to get all the invites and stuff like that. But, so I just stuck with track. And then once I finished, like I said, I had a hamstring injury. So I ended up going to the Olympic trials and then making it to the final. I ended up getting like 7th place or something like that. But I had the opportunity, and that's what allowed me to go to London for to the Olympics and stuff like that. I was, just honored to be a part of the relay squad. So, I was negotiating the whole time. I was still negotiating with Nike and Adidas at the time to become a professional track athlete. And we were going back and forth. We couldn't, and we at this time, we had relay camp, I think, in Monaco, and then I was in London Italy for another camp. So I'm still in school, but I'm flying around to all these different camps, and I'm in negotiations with with these shoe companies, and we just couldn't figure it out. We couldn't come up with a number. And I was angry because at the end of the day, I just really wanted to run. And so once I came back, I had met with a football agent, and he was like, hey Jeff, what do you think about me just putting it out there, let the teams know that you're still interested in playing football. And like I said, at that time I was still angry about the track contract situation. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So when he put it out there, at that time, so many teams had contacted us, and it was like I had the option of choosing where I wanted to go, and which was really cool. Like every team called, hey Jeff, man, we want to get you in, and because it's after the draft process, so it's like, man, we can, they can get me as a free agent now, so
sure,
like unsigned. So every team called, and I sat down with my agent and hey man, what you think the best option would be? And at that time, we just, we looked at everything. I didn't want to play in the cold at first, you know what I mean? But once we put it on paper, it's like, oh man, I think Tampa would be a good fit for you, or New England. And I was like, man, New England, you know, it's New England, but again, I didn't want to go play in the cold. And so, you know, we said, you know, I set my visit up to go to Foxborough, and I went up and then I had a workout, and they kept me. Like, they didn't even let me leave. You know, I did a workout, and Coach Belichick, like, hey, Demps, man, like, before I can even walk off the field, he's like, yo, we're going to sign you, man. And I was like, Coach, do I at least get the chance to go home? Because I'm in college, I was just, like, switching apartments in college. I had all my stuff at home, and I had just came from the Olympics. And this all going, like, as soon as I got back from the Olympics, like, within, like, that week I was going to, Foxborough. Either that week or the following week I was in Foxborough working out for New England, and they ended up, you know, keeping me there and signing me. And I came in, you know, strictly off track training, not really, you know, locked into football. And, I actually came down to Temple and had, like, you know, I had a good run, and then I had a good punt return. And I just remember in the locker room, Coach Belichick, like, hey, man, like, some of you older guys need to step it up because we got some young cats coming in that can really play. And then we went up to New York that week. I think it was like our last preseason game because I caught like the mid. I think we had two games left. It was Temple and New York. So I got in late from the games, and like maybe 2 minutes left in New York, I had a punt return, and I was, you know, it was like a return right, and you know, I couldn't get the return right, and I ended up just bouncing it to the left side and going out of bounds. And then as I was going out, a guy hit me in my right leg. I thought it was my ankle at first, but it ended up being my knee. And you know, it was a MCL sprain, and so I could have came back, but I was already so late that Coach Belichick wanted me to just he put me on IR, and he just wanted me to learn the playbook. Cause you know, he called me in like, Jeff, man, I got a lot of hope in, got a lot of trust in you. I know you know the type of player you can be in this offense. So he was like, I just want you to learn the playbook. I'm gonna put you on IR, and then, you know, next season we're gonna bring you back, and then you can have a bigger impact. So, you know,
that's could have been a faster James White in that offense.
Yeah, he was there,
like he was the backfield with it's exactly.
Yeah, man, like it was crazy. And then we almost went to the Super Bowl that year too. I was like, man, like, and then again, like everything was happening so fast, like, and then once I got hurt, man, I was just out of it.
Was Urban close with Belichick? Did they have a good relationship? Because it seems like
drafted a lot of Gators in that era.
Belichick took a lot of Gators.
Oh yeah. Belichick would come to our practice. It was almost like that same mindset. It was like they were the same people almost. It's like Saban, Urban, and Belichick. It's like they three are the same minds, like football minds. So it was like literally the same people. Yeah, same. And I think Saban and Mike just were like mentees of Belichick for sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do come back to the warmer weather in Tampa, and you do get on the field with the Bucs in 2013, reuniting with a Gator teammate, Ahmad Black.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a fun experience? Any memories from your time playing in the NFL?
Yeah, it was fun. I can give you the backstory on that too.
All right.
So remember, it was between New England and Tampa when I was choosing my teams to come back. So obviously I chose New England. So then, after that season, and I'm just telling you how I got to Tampa too. So after the season, I was still, in my heart, I still wanted to run track. So when I finished the season, I said, man, I'm going back to track and run. So I got down there in January, and again, this coming off my MCL injury. So I didn't sprint from when it was like August to January. I didn't sprint. So, I ended up going back to track training and just, kind of rehabbing and building myself back up. And then, Coach Belichick called me like a couple weeks in. It's like, hey, Demps, what's going on? I heard that, that you want to, still pursue track. I'm like, yeah, Coach, that's still what I want to do. I ain't really, too sold on football yet, like all the way locked in. And he was like, what do you want to do? I said, well, if I have to really choose, I think I'm gonna choose to run over playing right now. He was like, well, I'm pretty sure we can work some out where you can do both. I said, okay, cool, coach. You know, he was like, I'm gonna call you back. He never called me back, and I end up to this day I'm still waiting on that call, by the way. So I end up going to at that time it was like 2003. So I ended up signing a professional running contract with Adidas. So I signed, I think, a 3-year deal with Adidas, and then so I went to the U.S. championships and stuff like that. I didn't make the team, but just coming off the 2012 relay and stuff like that, they just decided to take me anyways, and it was in Russia. So while I'm in Russia, they so I missed the stuff. So I signed my contract with Adidas, and we go to, I was at I think Penn Relays at a meet, and the draft came on, and my phone is blowing up, right? I'm like, man, what's going on? Like, people knew I was running, but I haven't even ran yet, so my phone just blowing up. Then my agent called me like, hey man, I just want to tell you that the Patriots traded your rights to the Bucks. And I was like, huh? You know what I mean? So that's how I ended up going to Tampa. He called me like, yeah, the Patriots just traded your rights to Tampa for LeGarrette Blount. So that's how Blount went to New England.
Oh, right. I remember that trade.
He was in Tampa, and then they traded me.
All right.
So I'm like, I told my agent, I said, man, I'm not playing. He was like, it's okay. Well, they just hold your rights. I was like, okay, cool. He's like, so if you ever wanted to come back, then you'll be playing for Tampa. I said, okay, cool. So he was like, expect the call from the GM. And GM was Mark Dominic at the time. So Mark Dominic called me right after I got off the phone with my agent, and was like, hey Jeff, Mark Dominic, the GM for Bucks, and I just want to tell you that, we hold your rights if you ever decide to come back. We know you're running, but if you ever decide to come back, just know you'll be a Buck. So I was excited. I'm saying, okay, cool. I still got that option if I did want to come back and play football. So now fast forward, I'm in Russia for the relay, and then I didn't end up running. So Tampa knew, like I wasn't running, but I was on the trip. So my agent blowing me up, like, hey Jeff, Tampa wants to fly you from Russia to training camp. And I was like, hey, I ain't playing. You know what I mean? I'm focused on running. I literally just signed my contract for running. But he was like, yeah, I know, man. But, they just want you to come and check out the facilities and this and that. And I'm like, they don't want me to do that because I just experienced this with New England. Like, if I get up there, they're going to keep me.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to want me to play. So he's like, man, they're going to fly you on this and that. I'm like, when I get done, then after, once this championship is over, when I come back home, then we can discuss it. So fast forward, I get back home, and I still have the same mindset. And I have a track. So at this time, I have a football agent and I have a track agent. So when we get home, he having like all these former players and stuff call me like, hey, Jeff, man, I think you should play. This is a good idea. You can set your family, all, just this and that. But I'm like, I'm good, man. I just, I'm good. I got a contract with Adidas, and I'm good. So, it was like a week. They took like a week of trying to convince me just to go to Tampa and see the facilities. And I ended up going to Tampa. I knew once I got there, because they was telling me to go up there for 2 weeks. I knew once I got up there, I wasn't coming back. Literally, like the first day they just showed me around, and then the second day I was practicing. I was like, literally the second day I was practicing, man. And I had Greg Schiano at the time, and
right, the Rutgers coach.
Yeah, they had the Rutgers coach. So
right.
that first week, I started practicing, and just getting the feel for it, right? And I swear they literally wanted to just see me run around, man. Like they would just put me on like scout team against. I remember one play they had just signed Darrell Reeves too, and I remember they had me on the scout team, and they did like a sweep, and I was coming off the end, and Reeves went like to try to grab me, and I just shifted a whole nother gear, right? And then like literally everybody in practice just like
blew
lost
by the Hall of
Man,
Famer.
what is this? Like they had I just blew by the whole squad. Like I just blew by the whole squad, and then I remember just jogging back to the huddle, and Reeves was like, man, he's like, man, I ain't never seen nothing like that before, right? And then, but they just, you know, like a lot of plays like that. They just wanted to see me run and see how fast I was.
Ahmad didn't warn him?
Yeah, right? You didn't give him a heads up?
I guess not, man. Hey, I guess not. Yeah, I guess not. So it was, you know, guys was getting, they were literally telling the scout, like the defense, contain the edge, literally contain the edge, and then they'll do like a scout team sweep with me, and I'll just get the edge on everybody. And the coach and Shadow just cussing them out, man. So that week got it, you know, I got there, but then the following week, I was active, and they had me returning some punts and stuff. They had me returning kickoff, sorry, but they had a couple plays in there for me. And I just remember the night that Friday, I think it was Saturday night, hotel meeting, and Shiano gets up in front of everybody like, man, you guys better block. We got, you know, the Olympian, you know, he put so much pressure over me. Like, we got the Olympian speed in the back, returning the kick. You guys better block your ass off and this and that. And I was like, oh, man, why are you going to do that to me? Like, he put so much pressure on me, man. And yeah, he put a target on me. And, you know, I returned a couple kicks. It was okay. But then that following week, I think we played, so that was Arizona. That following week was playing the Eagles. And I swear they put like a 10-play package in for me. And you know, we practicing everything going good. And I just remember one of the guys, I think he was, you know, like one of the guys on the staff, he just called me to the side. He was like, hey, Demps, so what's going on, coach? He said, man, you need to slow down because these guys going to run you to the ground. Because it's like, it was literally, you know, we practicing all the plays and stuff like that. But I was just used to that, like practicing like that because that's how we did it in Florida. You know what I mean? So I was just used to that type of tempo at practice. But, you know, the older guy just kept coming up to me that week like, hey, Demps, man, you need to slow down, man. You need to slow down. And, you know, we end up going, you know, getting into the game. And I think my first carry was like one carry for like 13 yards. And I was like, man, you know, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I called a screen pass out the backfield. I didn't even get touched. And as soon as I turned to get upfield, it's like my groin and my abdomen just snapped. And that's how, you know, I was supposed to come back with like 6 to 8 weeks. But Mark Dummett, the GM, saw me jogging out there one day, and I guess he didn't like what he saw, and then, you know, again, they just decided to put me on IR, man. So that's my Temple story. You know what I mean? Temple was good, you know, a lot of love, but
I love that journey. It just blows my mind how you going from an accomplished featured running back on a national championship team to kind of losing your passion for football to do a backup plan. Oh, I'm going to just go get an Olympic medal. And then when you're done in the Olympics, hey, you were so good at football. Why don't you come and you go play for the greatest coach of our era, get in the Super Bowl, and then get to come back play in Florida for the National Football League. And it seems like you're now to say Mr. Magoo, it sounds disrespectful, but it seems like you kind of just ho-hum go from one adventure to the other. So like, and it just falls into place in like a perfect situation.
Nah, man.
That's kind of remarkable. But
like, you got from high school all the way up through college, I was able to do both sports, and I think that's what kind of kept me being able to achieve what I did, because I didn't put too much pressure on football and I didn't put too much pressure on track. You know what I mean? So I just always stayed in the middle.
So to that end, I got a question then. So when you're in your mind's eye and you're remembering yourself, a younger self running at your top speed, are you wearing pads and a helmet, or are you on a track?
I don't know, but that's a tough question. That's a very tough question, man.
That's a good one, Sid.
That's a very tough question. Yeah, you showed up. Yeah, that was.
See that, John? I showed up today. Man. I got a good question.
Yeah, you got me. You got me on that one. Yeah, you got me on that one, man. But yeah, I was just used to it though, man. Like, I didn't know anything else. I remember when I first got with my wife, she was like, "Hey, let's take a vacation." I'm like, "Man, I don't do vacations. Like, what is that?" Because I didn't know. You know, again, I just for years. As soon as I got done with football, I was in track. As soon as I got done with track, I was right back to football. And then, you know, I was just fortunate enough to continue to do it throughout college. And then in the NFL, I know it's going to be tough, but I'm like, man, if I can do it, I want to do it. And it was just different on a professional level. But, you know, whatever, even I felt like even if I would have really locked in with football, I probably would still be playing. because, again, I know, my passion, I know my work ethic and stuff like that, and I know my talent, but I just, like I said, after like that year when Maya left and Muschamp came, I just literally I was 1 foot out. You know what I mean? I never really found that full passion again for the game, so it was like a hindrance. So I know I was like, man, if I just had that fire I did, I would have still been playing the game to the day.
Well, you had enough fire to get inducted into the UF Hall of Fame in 2022, along with teammate Joe Hayden and basketball star Chandler Parsons, personal favorite of mine. Where does being in the Gator Hall of Fame rank in your accomplishments with national championships and Olympics? Is that in the lit up safe, your Hall of Fame plaque or something like that too?
Yeah. Oh, it haven't made it to the safe yet, but it's going. But that's incredible, man. Like, just to be like with those guys, man, like that you just mentioned, and the females that I was, inducted with, and then the guys before me. Like I said, I used to look at, Sunshine Network and see, the Fred Taylors and the Emmitt Smiths and the I just seen the wide receiver slot guy, man. Travis McGriff. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, sure.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I seen it. I was literally going through you guys' page today, and I said, dang, man, I remember this guy. I used to love him because he had the cleats that I wanted when I was younger. And I said, man, this guy's incredible. So even just, even watching those guys and just being able to, just to be, mentioned with some of those names, man, and to this day, I still don't even understand really, like what it means. You know what I mean? But it was incredible. Like I got the call. I was training, and I seen the 352 number, and I thought it was somebody just calling me. They trying to give me some season tickets or something like that for the Gator game. Because they text me first. Hey, Jeff, it's such and such from University of Florida. When you get an opportunity or a set, can you give me a call? I said, okay, cool. But for some reason, I was there. I said, man, they gonna give me some tickets. I'm gonna go to a few games. So I waited till I got home, and I had my wife call, and then, hey, Jeff, how you doing? This is Miss Michelle. That's the lady's name. And should you send down? Like, I don't need to be sent down for some tickets. And she's like, I just want to tell you that you've been inducted into the UF Hall of Fame for football and track. And I was like, oh man, that's incredible. It just completely caught me off guard. Cause I'm like, man, I thought, I'm like, am I even old enough to get something like that? It was incredible.
Are you the only one inducted for 2 sports? I can't imagine there are too many of you. That's even more elite.
I think I'm the
Sid,
only one.
I said that in my intro. Weren't you listening?
Yeah.
You really are a unicorn. Oh, did you do an intro? Man, I'll have to play this episode back.
Yeah, we're ready.
He's the only one. The only one.
Always.
Yeah, but it was crazy, man. It's crazy. Even when I heard the guys that I was getting inducted with, I was like, man, that's even more incredible. Just to be, the class with Hayden and Parsons, and me and Chandler came up, we was in the same class. And I remember watching Chandler in high school, and him and what's his buddy name? He went to Florida too. Is his name Nate? Maybe
Calathis?
Nick Calathis, yeah.
Yeah, they were on the team together.
Yeah, they were on the team. So I remember, So I remember those guys from high school. You know what I mean? And then both going up to UF. And I think we maybe did a photo shoot for the varsity sports, the newspaper I was telling you guys about. I think we did a photo shoot early in our career in high school. So then to go to Florida and then to be, inducted into the Hall of Fame together, that was just not surreal to me.
All right, Jeff. Well, we usually end the show in a bit. But before I get that, I got a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
You went from number 2 to number 28 your senior year.
Mm-hmm.
How come?
I was just, at that time I started to speak with agents and stuff like that about, going to the NFL and it actually being real now. And I just, I watch highlights and stuff of Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson and stuff like that. And, those guys were 2'8". And I was like, man, I'm going to start preparing myself to be a professional running back, just to get in that mindset. I don't know. It wasn't.
Sure.
It was just from that. It wasn't really that deep or nothing like that. It was just, the guys who I watched were 28. like I said, Chris Johnson.
Shout out to Curtis Martin, also a great.
Curtis Martin. You know, it's a lot of guys that wore that, but you know, for me, I was a Adrian Peterson,
Fred Taylor,
Freddie T.
Taylor.
Shout out to Fred
in the pros,
T.
yeah.
So it was like Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson was guys that I really watched, and Chris Johnson he's from where I'm from, and you know, shout out to Chris, and you know, still, you know, a buddy of mine.
2,000-yard rushers there.
Yeah, and you know, buddy of mine now, and that's what it was. Those guys rocked it, and I just like, man, you know what? I'm a rock it for my last year too.
Very cool.
Good answer. I never knew.
Mm-hmm.
I always
that was it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Jeff. Here we go. We're gonna end the show in a bit.
Okay.
And you're gonna do a Mount Rushmore of speed guys from the University of Florida.
Like all time.
Yep.
All time.
You are allowed to include yourself.
No, I ain't gonna include myself. I keep it fair. So, of all time, okay. So I gotta go. Crazy question, but did John Capel play football? Do you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yes, he did.
He did. Okay, so
yes,
I gotta go with John Capel.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go Bo Carroll.
All right.
Nice.
Friend of the show.
Nice.
So then I'm going. I got two more.
Two more.
Yes, sir.
Two more. I'm going. So now I'm going to the track. I'm going to the track now. I have to put, and he's a sleeper. But I got to go with him. Deontay Thompson. I have to go.
Ooh.
He's a sleeper, but like
choice.
track, like football track guy, like speed for speed. Like I'm going with DT all day.
Okay.
And the last one.
Has anybody won an Olympic medal that you want to put on there?
Outside of myself. I'm trying to think.
That's what I was referring to.
No, I said I ain't gonna put myself in. I ain't gonna put myself in.
All right.
I'm gonna go, and the last one is tough because I'm going football and I'm going track if they got that background, which most other guys do. And I'm just trying to, and my pick is between Rainey and Percy. And I'm just trying to, I don't know which one has the faster 100-meter time on the track. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I think Rainey ran a 10.3 and Percy maybe ran a 10.4. But I don't know, man. That's tough. I don't know who I'm going to go with, man.
You got to pick one. Flip a coin.
I got to pick one. I'm gonna have to put Percy on there, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
can't leave Percy.
I can't leave Pete just from a football standpoint because you know sometimes guys can't convert the football to track or vice versa.
And he seemed to have like a burst from a stop to all of a sudden turn the Jets on too.
Yeah.
There was like something special about that.
Rainey runs a speed factor. He's not going to be happy with you.
Yeah, Rainey, that's my boy.
That's right.
Yeah, Rainey, you my boy. I love you. But you know, I had to go old school too. I had to go old school and legit guys. But if I had another answer there, I would go Rainey next. But I'm just going from me looking at it, you know what I mean, in person, the stop and go, and just not just the top end. You know, Rainey's that, you know, he's gonna go. He's 4-2 guy all day quickness. But as far as top end, you know, I feel like Percy has a better top end than Rainey. That's the only reason I put that. But if we got to go from 0 to 40 or 60, you know, I would have to go with Rainey. But I'm just looking at from an overall, like from 0 to 100, like those type of guys. Like for me, that's true speed. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to go with those type of guys in front of Chris. But Rainey, I love you. Don't take no offense to it, man. You know, you my boy.
We're gonna get Rainey back on, so we're gonna ask him about that.
I actually extended an invite for him to join this show, so you guys could debate the race.
Who's faster
live? But
that's right.
He hasn't gotten the message yet. So
well, whenever you get him on, then just contact me, and then I'm gonna come back.
All right. I like it. There we go.
Okay.
Because I
will do that.
I know the truth.
We'll settle this.
Him and Ahmad, you know, two Lakeland guys, so I know they're gonna, you know, it's only right they stick together. So, you know, I've heard some stories and I've seen some clips of them telling a false story. So, you know, we'll clear it up once Randy come back on, man.
I love it.
All right, Jeff Demps, top UF speed guys of all time. Mount Rushmore, John Capel, Bo Carroll, Deontay Thompson, and Percy Harvin.
Great list.
Yes, sir. Jeff, man, UF Athletics Hall of Famer, Olympic medalist, and national champion. Thank you so much for taking the time to do our show. It's been a true honor to have you on and to hear your stories, man. Appreciate it.
And I thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's been a while, but I really enjoyed it, man. I had fun.
Yeah, we're glad you took the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. A lot of fun.
Look at Sid, making friends.
I like that.
I think you guys just became best friends.
Sid takes a week off and comes back as like an all-star.
I had some serious FOMO. You guys did so good without me. I had to make sure I reminded you that I'm still here. So, yeah, that was fun.
And what I'm talking about,
like you did good.
For our listeners, after we stop the recording and making sure everything's uploading, we have some small talk. And Sid busted out 3 or 4 spectacular questions and became best friends with Jeff Demps.
That's right. My new buddy.
But, yeah, wow. UF Hall of Famer, our first Olympian medalist.
Yes. First Olympic,
Very cool.
Only player or only athlete to be inducted into the UF Athletics Hall of Fame for 2 sports. That's pretty special.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Should have included that in the intro, maybe. Oh, yeah, you did.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
You should have listened to the intro,
right.
maybe.
Okay, gotcha.
He doesn't listen to the intros.
See, everything good you did is just out the window now.
Well, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have.
There you have the facts of life. Okay.
Oh, God.
Here we go. How about the 2 bits of life right now?
I'm ready. I got one.
Go for it.
First of all, I alluded to this during the interview. Unicorn, like so unique. Like the skill set, the things that he did is like not too many humans on the planet are capable of the things he's accomplished. But my 2-bit though was how, and you alluded to this a little, John, and how you talked to it. It seemed like he remembered more of the details of the shortcomings. He talked about when we were like how exciting it was in that first game where he had the long touchdown, and he's like, oh, but on special teams, I had a chance for a big tackle. Or we talk about a game where he had big play, and he's like, oh yeah, but in the beginning of the game, I there was a pitch to me, and I blew the play. It's somebody who's so accomplished, and we're celebrating him and talking about all the great things. He wasn't even aware. 6.7. I mean, that's just insane. 6.7. It's like yards per carry. He wasn't even aware of that. And when you talk about that, it for him, it seemed just as fresh, the shortcomings. I guess that's what it takes to be motivated to accomplish the sort of things that he did. So I don't know about you, but I'm sure Gator Nation remembers all those successes much more than any of those few shortcomings. So hopefully now that Jeff's a little further away from the field, he could appreciate it that way too.
Got you banging on the table, huh?
Yeah, he's animated, man.
He's into it. I'm
like excited. It. That's my new friend.
I'll go next.
Okay.
My two bits. I always look at stats different ways, and one of my favorite stats that I think, in football is really significant is yards per carry for a running back. Because when it's all said and done, the player could have played 15 years, or he could have played 6 years or 7 years. That yards per carry really tells you the story if they're just compiling stats or if they're
having an awful lot of 60-plus long yard touchdown runs, padding those yards per carry. Yeah.
Exactly. So as long as they have the minimum required, and Jeff was a starting running back, even though, he did split time with Rainey and Gillisley and Harvin at times.
Tebow carried a lot too.
Tebow, that's right. Tebow carried a lot and scored a lot of rushing touchdowns.
Vultured a lot of those touchdowns away from our friends of the show on the running back side there.
Yeah. And Demps still finished 10th on the all-time list in rushing touchdowns. But either way.
Amazing.
That yards per carry is significant. And nobody at the University of Florida as a running back had a higher yards per carry average. So that's my 2 bits.
All right, so mine's a little kind of related to Sid's. Sid talked about how guys a lot of times focus on the negative, and we've had a lot of guys that dwell on the missed opportunities in a game or a particular play that went wrong. But I thought it was kind of interesting when he talked about the Ole Miss game, and he says that game was a blur.
Yeah, he didn't remember
the only play he remembers was Tebow's last play, where he didn't get the first down. He does not remember that game, and kind of interesting that one with him is one that he doesn't remember. It's kind of the wonders of the mind, right? That one got blocked out. It was just, for whatever reason, it was that game that he doesn't recall and it got blocked out of his memory.
That's a good point.
That's the first time we've heard somebody say that.
Good.
Yeah, it is. And I want to piggyback on that because how he has that box with all his awards and rings and medal.
And it lights up.
And but the fact that he didn't really appreciate that stuff when he was earning it and getting it all. And now looking back when he opens up that box, it reminds him of what he accomplished and he can appreciate it. So when he's going through it, like Andy's saying in that Ole Miss game, he's the workhorse. He's, giving everything at practice, giving everything during the games, and not really in the moment for, what kind of stats he's putting up or what he's accomplishing. But now he's got all the awards and everything to go back and remind him of how awesome of an athlete he was, right? So that's pretty amazing too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's good. That was the dollar, right? We had the 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, and you added a dollar in there.
Keep it changed.
Are you saying I was long-winded? Okay. I get it. That's okay.
All right.
It was all good. You're not going to be Jeff's best friend like Sid, but you did good.
Hey, we all have our place, okay? Stay in your lane, all right?
Imagine if Jeff Demps had played for the Jets. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Well, he went with the 28. I thought of Curtis Martin immediately.
And he burnt Revis.
Yeah, so. Well, that's okay, because Revis was a Buck then. He deserved the burning. That was just, he should have stayed in green.
Okay.
That
is pretty
Different
cool.
Story. All right, sorry. We went in there.
Hey, but something we could all agree on, we cannot wait to get Rainey and Demps on the same show.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be epic.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
I feel like a buddy cop movie coming out of this. This is like one of those. This will be good.
All right, guys. It was a pleasure, as always.
Good show, gentlemen.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.